Hello, hello. It is Erica with Holy Rustic, and we are here to paint a new interchangeable insert for our window. So this is our window, and this piece slides in and out, and this piece slides in and out, so you can change it out for the season. So this is a Easter insert, but I have here on the paint table a fun St. Patrick's Day insert for us to do. So I'm going to grab my towel and just kind of start separating out some of our pieces here so we can get to painting. This one says Irish Blessings at the bottom and has a cute little top hat and some fun clovers with lots of buttons. So let's start by grabbing a piece of tape. We're going to fold the ends down and stick that to the table so we've got a sticky side up, and we're going to put our white pieces on there. Those are going to be these buttons here. Looks like there's 5 of them. On the other end of that tape, we're going to paint this white as well, and we're going to paint all of these words white, but I don't need to tape those down. They're big enough to hold on to. On the other side of the tape here, we're going to put some of these. Actually, let's do those flowers. These are going to be yellow. There are 5 of those. And then we're going to switch out. These are going to be a lighter green. Let's do, and then some of these are going to be a darker green. We're going to do that in a darker green in the middle. This is also yellow. Just separating out my pieces just makes my life a little bit easier when I am painting here. I don't have to refer back to my photo as much, and I can just kind of enjoy the process a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out which piece goes here. So this is going to go here. Aha, there it is. All right, and then I do believe that's going to go there. One of these is going to go on here. I think this goes like this. And where does this go? Does it go here? That doesn't really make any sense. I don't think so. I think it just goes right there. No, it doesn't go there. The flower goes there. Maybe if I put the flowers on, it'll help. And there. There. Maybe this is supposed to be a flower. No, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a... This is a puzzle. It would probably help if I had it facing me. So I'm going to turn it for just a moment here while I figure out where these pieces go. Okay. You're going to go there. There are 2 shamrocks and 2. This flower kind of goes here. Oh, I do think he goes just kind of right there. And then one, that one just kind of goes there. Okay, there we go. That helps. Okay, and that's all dark green. So this is yellow, 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 and yellow. And then we're going to do this in a lighter green. I'm going to do this one in a light green, this one in a light green, and then these will be a medium green. This will be a medium green. All right, let's see if we can keep all that straight. So what you want to do when you're painting these inserts is you want to be careful to not stack this space here too high, or you'll have trouble getting that to sit inside your window. So I wouldn't go more than like 2 high here. So as you get down into this space, and that's that little lip right there. We're going to start with this Irish Blessings piece. I'm going to grab just a flat brush here. We'll just rinse this one out. And I'm going to work with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, and I'm going to throw in some white as well so that I can lighten this up. So I want this to be a nice light green down here at the bottom. I'm not worried about those etched lines because we're going to put the 3D pieces over top of them. So that is going to be just fine. So we're just taking a little bit of green. I threw a little extra white in there, and I did a little bit of yellow as well. We're going to do kind of an ombre-ish look. I just don't want this to be just a solid green color. I want it to have a little bit of variation in the green. So now that I've got this kind of nice springy green color, I'm going to pick up some of just my green. I'm going to come along the bottom and blend that up and in just by going back and forth with that brush. And I'm going to pick up a little bit extra yellow up here at the top, and we're just going to blend that in by going back and forth. Big brush strokes back and forth, and that way we have kind of a darker to a lighter green. Nothing crazy. All right. We're going to mix up a little bit of a dark green for this hat. So I'm going to take a little bit of black with some of my green. So a little bit of black and some green. I want a nice, rich, dark green. Yes, that is what we want. That's a nice color. We're going to paint in our hat here. Now these etched lines here is where the little tag goes that has the 1 and the 7 on it. So we'll just get pretty close to that. Just give this a nice coat of paint. Remember, thin coats are better than thick coats. We don't have to put all the paint on there at one time. We can do a couple of thin coats and we'll be just fine. All right. That looks good. Set that to the side and let that dry. Okay. The band of the hat, we're going to make this almost black. So I'm just going to pick up black and we'll just go over that piece. It's mostly black. There may be a pop of color in there, but it's pretty black. And then this 1 and this 7 are also going to be black. Let's paint those up real quick. Okay. For this, we need to paint. So this is 3D. And then you saw we have a lot of 3D pieces we're putting on in here. But I just want this base to just have that darker green kind of in these spaces. And then we do have to paint that horseshoe as well. And I'm just going to pull this all the way down here to the bottom. So I'm picking up that green with some black and basically just kind of going over any spaces that I think are going to show kind of down here in this space. And then I'm going to pull that green all the way down this bottom part here, just so that this is nice and painted in case any of it sticks up when it goes inside our window. This piece is going to be a bright yellow, golden yellow. So we're going to go ahead and paint that because it's probably going to need 2 coats. So just grab I should do this with a sponge. Yes, I should. Okay, let's use a sponge. Because I can tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to push a bunch of paint down in these little holes where the horseshoe is, and then that's going to be sad. I'm going to be kind of careful as I get close to where I painted the green. Make sure I don't pick up any green in with my yellow. And that's definitely going to need 2 coats. So we'll let that set, and then we were going to do all this in that golden yellow as well. So anytime you use your sponge, you're going to dip it into the paint. Offload by dipping it over on the side to get that excess paint off, and then we're just coming over onto our pieces straight up and down. So all these flowers are yellow, and then this little buckle, whoops, this buckle for our hat is going to be that golden yellow, and yellow is a pretty opaque color, so it's definitely going to need 2 coats. If you have a sparkle gold, it would be fun to throw that on here. I love me some glitter paint, so that would be fun to put on as well. If you're a glitter girl. Some people don't like glitter. I don't know who those people are. All right, up and down. Just a quick second coat on this. If you do the light thin coats, it's going to dry real fast, and you're going to be able to come back and give this a quick second coat. And this is just kind of a golden yellow color, so it works really well for that. Okay, that should be all of our yellow pieces. Let's clip our sponge. So we're just going to take our scissors. We're going to come straight across and just clip that sponge all the way across so that we can use it for a new color. So now I have a sponge that I can reuse. And all of these are going to be white. So I'm going to grab our white over here. Remember to offload. And then we're going to come in and paint all the white pieces. So we have the tag, that's the 1 and the 7. All of our little buttons. This tape is reused, so it's not sticking quite as well as it would if it was brand new tape. And then all of our words. So it says Irish blessings. So we're going to do all of these in the white as well. I do not paint the edges of these pieces. I like that burned look that the laser gives them. So I'm not painting the edges. That's why we're using the sponge. That way we can hopefully have nice clean edges. Whereas if we were using a paintbrush to paint these things, we would probably find ourselves pushing paint down in the grooves in between the letters and stuff. Okay, one more and then we'll start back where we were and just give everything another coat. So that first coat is dry, so I'm just coming back and giving everything a second coat. Thin coats are better than thick coats. You don't have to put all the paint on at once. And you may find, depending upon how heavy-handed you are or how your paint is working that particular day, you may need 2 or 3 coats on the white. Sometimes I can get by with 2, and sometimes it needs 3. It just kind of depends. And this is looking like it's going to need a 3rd coat. All right, almost done. We'll come back around and do a 3rd coat. So all of our kits from our website do come with the makeup sponge, so you can use that to paint up all your pieces. All you're going to need is a paintbrush. Honestly, you could paint the entire kit with the sponge. It's just a little bit harder to use the sponge on the bigger sections, but you certainly could. So all you really need is a paintbrush, a little bit of time. You're going to get all your paint, your inspiration photo, your basic directions, and a little tube of craft glue that you can use to do up all your kit. And that way you'll have a nice fun little thing to display for St. Patty's Day. Super cute, very easy. Sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed in craft stores and you're starting a new project and you're not sure what color paint to buy or all that stuff. And so then we end up with project paralysis, as I call it, and then you do nothing. Instead of doing something, you end up doing nothing. Okay, I got all of those pieces painted. I think that third coat really made them pop. So those are all good. We're going to set them over to the side so they can finish drying. We have our medium, right? These are medium green. Yeah, these are light green. All right, so let's just use that sponge. We're going to keep the white on there. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of green and we'll see if that works. I may need another color of green. I'm going to grab another shade of green because that's going to make more of a minty color and I don't really want mint green. We want more of kind of an olive, a light olive green. All right. There we go. We'll just paint all these. I think we'll do another quick coat on those. First coat covered pretty well, but there's a few little spots that maybe needed a second coat. That green is getting very minty, so I'm gonna come back in with just a little bit more of the straight from the bottle color there. There we go. That's nice. Okay. And then we're going to do all of these in more of just the regular green. It's more of your normal, probably what you think of as a St. Patrick's Day green, your Kelly green. It's a nice color. All right, so what I want to say here is you could stop here and glue everything together and have a super cute kit. I'm going to show you how to kind of add a little extra pizzazz to it, but I want you to know that that is not necessary and that it's going to look really cute even if you just paint everything and glue it together and don't do any of the extra like shading and stuff like that. So you do what you're comfortable with. And don't feel like this is a necessary step. Okay. So I'm going to take my sponge. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that dark green that we created earlier. So it's the black with a little bit of the green. And I'm going to come in and I want to do just a little bit of shadow around the edge of some of these pieces. And all I'm going to do is just barely tap that sponge right along the edge, and it's just going to give me just a little shadow. So I'm just taking this side of the sponge and just barely tapping around on my shamrocks and some of my leaves. I'm trying to pick the pieces that are dry. So we're just coming in and just barely tapping with that sponge. Notice I have not gotten any more paint. The less paint you have on the sponge at this point, probably the better. because it's easy for this to become a little heavy. Whereas if you come in with a lighter coat, then you can always add to it instead of, again, putting all the paint on there at once. And this just gives us a nice, fun little look. And I do pick the pieces up so that I can hold them while I'm just coming right around that edge. If I do it flat on the table, oftentimes I'll end up with kind of like a rectangle mark on there from the sponge. So that's why I like to hold them up in the air. And that way I get a nice angle to come in from the sides and just do little bits of shadow. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that to this tag as well that's going on our hat. So it's the green with a little bit of black on here, and we're just going right around that edge. You can really see it on that white. It really pops. Just gives us a little extra dimension there. I think maybe I want to do something to these flowers, but I don't want to use the green. So we're going to clip that sponge, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of my, kind of have a golden color over here. I'm going to grab a little bit of that, and I'm going to try and come just around the edge of the flowers. So it's not super noticeable, but it does just give them a little pop there. I'm going to just turn the pieces. Oh, I got a lot right there on that petal. That's okay. We'll just kind of blend it in with our finger. Just turn and tap. I'm going to put a little bit along the edges of this buckle. Just to give us a little something. And we'll just tap the outside edge on the top of the horseshoe here. Okay, so you see there, I didn't pick it up and I left it laying flat. And now I have kind of some rectangle-ish marks. It's not the end of the world. I can come back with a little bit of my yellow and just blend that a little bit, and it'll be fine. So just remember, it's just paint. So if you don't like it, you can always paint back over top of it. Well, it's not the end of the world. Okay, I want to do a little bit of something with this and a little bit of something with this, and then we can glue, and then we'll do some details. So I think we'll just splatter these. I was trying to decide between polka dots and splatter, and I'm not feeling polka dots today, so we're just going to do a little splatter. So I use a fan brush for splatter. You can use a regular brush, whatever you want. Just took a little bit of my water out of my paint cup, and I'm mixing it with some of my white over here. I kind of test it, and then I'm going to come over here and just tap, 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 and get a little splatter there. Move anything that you don't want splatter on, because everything is going to be splattered. Okay. All right, and then we are ready to glue. So inside your kit, you're going to have a tiny bottle of E6000 or B7000, a little bit of craft glue that you can use to put everything together. This is just a bigger bottle of craft glue that I keep here on my table to use for my projects. But when you put that glue down, you want to remember just a dot, not a lot. You need thin little lines of glue. Run that lip of the glue right up against the edge of your piece like you're putting on lipstick. And that way you don't end up with big globs of glue. This is our Irish Blessings. This glue does have a dry time. It's dry completely, so you want to the etched lines so that I know where to put things. It's super simple. What that was. Okay. So there's our Irish Blessings. Cute. And then we can start to glue this bad boy down. So I'm going to flip it around so you can see. And then we're going to I'll put the hat down first. That's the bigger piece. And then our little piece for our 1 and our 7. There we go. Perfect. And then the band of our hat. You know what? I think this needs, because this is going to set, this dark band is going to set up against that dark hat. I feel like this needs a little pizzazz there. So I'm going to clip my sponge again, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of white, just a tiny bit, and I'm going to come along the bottom here and just do a little tapping with the white. Now we put the dots on there, but I'm afraid this is going to blend in too much if we don't do a little something right there. All right, that's a nice little look. Now I'll put the glue back on, and we will glue that piece down. Okay. Now's the fun part. We get to see where all these go. Oh, well, we can put this down. This is easy. Boop. Just like that. All right. And then probably the easiest thing to do is going to be to put the pieces with the lines down first. So, because there are some etched lines here that show you where some of these pieces go. Just remember, we're being mindful about this bottom lip. Make sure we don't get too close to that or get, stacked too high down there. You can put like 1 is fine, because now that makes 2, but you just want to be careful you don't get too crazy down there. Anything you do needs to be kind of more up on to the piece. As long as you just kind of follow the lines and put stuff on the etched lines, you should be okie dokie. But something to think about. Okay, this one goes up here on the horseshoe. Boop. Just like that. And then one of these is going to go here. And this is the one I think it goes here. I think that goes on top of it. Does that look right? That's where we're going to put it. As is my best estimate from the picture, that is where it goes. So you can put these wherever you want, but I think it goes right there. All right, and then we've got our flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, and then we're going to put the middles of the flowers, which are those little buttons. Okay, now let's do just a few little finishing details here. So I'm going to take just a tiny little script brush here. This one has seen better days. It is broken, but I think it'll be okay. We're going to come into our white, and I just want to do some swoops and some dots. going to do all my swoops first. And then I'm going to do my dots. Again, not a necessary step. It's definitely extra, so you could leave this off. This is, I think, a little easier than maybe the shadows and highlights, but it's not going to make or break your piece, so it's fine if you feel like this is overwhelming or you don't have a steady hand. You know, this is not a necessary piece. And I always say, just put these wherever makes your heart happy. There are no rules here. You put them wherever you want. Don't overthink it. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to take my handy dandy dotting tool here and come in and just do some dots. I could use the bottom of the paintbrush, but since that brush is broken, that's not going to work. So we'll use this instead. And I'm just coming wherever I did those little swoops, and I'm doing just a few little dots kind of trailing off. It just adds a little extra. You can do just dots anywhere you want as well. Just kind of jazzes it up a little. And there we go. There is our very cute little St. Patrick's Day insert. Remember, you're going to want to let it lay flat to dry for 24 hours. And then it will go in the window. Let me grab it. Inside the interchangeable window. So the bottom piece will slide in here, and this piece will slide right in here. And you'll have a cute little window for St. Patrick's Day. Thanks so much for painting with me. Remember, you can find all of our kits on our website at holyrustic.com. And I can't wait to see your finished project. Have a great day.